to this session. Today we're going to cover configuration tools for Oracle Utilities Digital Self-Service Portal and Customer to Meter. After completing this lesson, you'll be able to understand which configurations are done in the Digital Self-Service or DSS portal and which are done in the Customer to Meter or C2M system. You'll be able to explain the types of supported DSS portal configurations, as well as the types of configurations in the C2M master configuration. You'll understand how to create self-service tasks and how to find them in the C2M system. You'll also be able to explain how web services are used to create self-service tasks. You'll be able to explain the types of self-service tasks, as well as the business object or BO model used for self-service tasks. And finally, you'll be able to identify the lifecycle states of transactional business objects. Let's begin by discussing the types of digital self-service configurations. There are two main types of configurations that we'll discuss today: DSS portal configurations and customer to meter self-service business process configurations. Let's start with DSS portal configurations. The DSS portal is comprised of portal components, pages, widgets, and select mappings to values in the customer to meter system. Examples of portal components include headers, footers, and navigation. Examples of pages include the overview page. Widgets are web components that appear on a page, such as the account overview or bill trends. Mappings to C2M are functional mappings. Utility admins can define values in C2M which correspond to functional concepts and are unique to that particular utility. For example, they could define service types such as gas, water, or electricity, or customer classes such as residential, commercial, or industrial. These definitions are then mapped to the corresponding concepts in DSS. We also have customer to meter self-service business process configurations. The DSS portal calls C2M web services. The C2M web services rely on C2M configurations and scripts to define the business logic for a given self-service process. For example, the budget plan eligibility process. Example C2M configuration components include self-service tasks, service scripts, and general C2M configurations. An example of a self-service task is the budget billing setup task. An example of a service script is the budget billing eligibility script. And an example of a general C2M configuration is person identifier types. Now that you understand the different types of configurations, let's take a closer look at the specific configurations that need to be completed to integrate the digital self-service system with customer to meter. Typically, C2M configurations are completed before the DSS portal configurations. However, we're going to take a look at the portal and how it is configured before looking at the back-end configuration that is done in the C2M system. Looking at the portal now can help provide you with some context about why those configurations are necessary. The Digital Self-Service Portal is where your utility customers go to access information about their accounts. The structure of your DSS portal is configurable to suit the needs of your business and your customers. You can configure different components on the portal, such as style variables, navigations, and sidebar navigations. You can also configure utility logos, contact information, and footer text. Here we see an example configuration for a sidebar navigation item that links to a payment vendor. Here we can see a portal page. Pages are configured to have one or more widgets. For example, the account overview page we see here has many widgets, which are shown with numbered green circles. You can also use configurations to enable items on your page, such as a toast notification or account selector. Pages support the configurations shown here, which include enabling or disabling the account selector, toast message, and widgets. Each widget on a page can also be configured. Let's take a look at the Bill Trends widget. Most of the text displayed on a widget is referred to as a message property. However, not all text is configurable. Here we see an example configuration for the Bill Trends widget. Work with your implementation team to determine which items in each widget are configurable. You can also view information about configurable values in the digital self-service configuration guides that are available on docs.oracle.com. Now let's discuss customer-to-meter configurations. Digital self-service relies on the customer care and billing self-service integration's master configuration for much of its business logic. CC&B master configuration and C2M master configuration are synonymous, as digital self-service integrates with and supports both enterprise products. Going forward, we'll be referring to them as the master configuration. The master configuration stores general configurations, processing scripts, self-service tasks, and campaigns for start-stop and contact us features. As I mentioned earlier, the master configuration is completed before the DSS portal configuration is complete, as the DSS portal will reference many of these configurations, such as the person identifier types and tender types. However, now that you know the basics of what the portal should look like and how it can be configured, looking at these configuration options will make more sense. There are several types of C2M master configuration categories. They include general configurations, service scripts, references to service tasks, and references to campaigns. Examples of general configurations include valid payment methods, which reference valid tender types, line of business verification fields, which reference personal identifier types, stop service work calendar cutoff time and lead days, and web and guest user configurations, such as the ability to allow duplicate email addresses and non-main person web account connections. Examples of service scripts include the announcement script for active payment arrangement, the budget eligibility script, and the notification script for guest user invite alerts. The names of these scripts are shown here. Examples of references to service tasks include account verification, start and stop processing, and bill due notifications. The task names for each are also shown here. Lastly, we have references to campaigns, which can include start-stop service campaigns and contact us forms campaigns. Each are referenced via service tasks. DSS relies on master configuration scripts to handle special logic for processing transactions and requests. DSS also supports customer-modified or duplicated scripts for unique utility processes if the correct schema is maintained. Now let's discuss at a high level the C2M web service and master configuration. C2M inbound web services call C2M scripts to process transactions. The C2M scripts contain the business logic of digital self-service. The scripts typically create service tasks, which invoke algorithms or other scripts. For example, the account verification and/or self-service task, which validates that the account number and person ID is valid, and the start-stop request task, which processes a new start or stop service request. Scripts can also invoke processing scripts that are referenced in the master configuration. Examples include the budget eligibility self-service task, which determines if a customer is eligible to enroll in a budget plan, or the pay arrangement eligibility task, which determines if a customer is eligible to enroll in a payment plan. Service scripts can also be used to extend the business logic and, with specific configuration, to perform audits for specified requests. Here is an example of what happens during account verification. The DSS widget, Connected Account Enhanced, invokes the CX Verify account inbound web service that calls the CX Ver account service script. The CX Ver account service script creates the CX Create Account Verification service task, referencing the line of business verification field's business object. The business object, CX Account Verify task, and task type confirm that values submitted pass verification. Then, CXV account successfully verifies the account. Now let's turn our focus to C2M Self-Service Tasks. The DSS portal relies on three types of C2M service tasks for processing requests. Your customer service representatives will be able to search for self-service tasks created by the portal web service calls. The first type is the customer request self-service task type. These tasks are for inbound transactions, such as starting service or enrolling in budget billing. Next is the notification self-service task type. This task type is for proactive outbound notifications, such as bill notifications, bill due, and late payment notifications. The third type is the form service task type. This task type is for general customer inquiries or issue-related tasks, such as missed rebates or landlord reversions. You can access self-service tasks in C2M by clicking Menu, Self-Service, and then selecting Self-Service Tasks. You can search for all self-service requests processed by the customer-to-meter system. The C2M web services create self-service tasks for many common self-service requests. When you view the task, you can see the task type and the status of the task. You can also review common audit information about the task and see the objects related to the task, such as the account and person associated with the task. Special logic is defined in the master configuration for specific service tasks. This logic specifies the service tasks that support your business processes by associating service task identifiers, business objects, and transaction business objects. Let's look at the configuration for service tasks. To process a start-stop transaction, the self-service selection invokes the inbound service to create the task. The start-stop service request references the respective service task on the master configuration and is used to create the service task instance. The WXBO self-service task type flag lookup contains the values of available service task types. Various classes of self-service notification requests utilize the C1 Notify Task Type business object for the following reasons: storing data elements responsible for tracking the notification, creating the customer contact class and type, overriding Do Not Disturb hours defined in customer self-service, invoking a processing script, WX notification preference from XAI inbound service, which builds the list of available notification types returned to self-service, defining a message category and numbers that contain the text of the notification, the email subject and body text, and also for additional custom elements on the transactional business object. These custom elements are stored on the transactional business object according to the XPath defined for each one. These notification tasks are configured on the master configuration within the Notification Service Tasks section. The C1NF self-service task type flag lookup defines the eligible notification types which can be configured for self-service. The notification service task type manages the preferences and timing as referenced in the previous slide, and the suppression criteria determines when notifications should not be sent to the user. The following notification types are included in the base product. Issues notification applies to forms of type issues that a customer creates. Marketing communication preferences applies to communications about initiatives your business may market to customers. Prepaid billing new charge notification applies to customers on prepaid service and is sent out each time a new bill segment is calculated. Prepaid billing payment request notification applies to customers on prepaid service and is sent out when the customer's prepaid balance drops below a calculated minimum threshold. Late payment notification is sent if no payments are received after the last bill's due date has passed. Payment received notification is sent each time a payment is received. Bill due notification is sent a designated number of days before the last bill's due date. Bill ready notification is sent when a customer's bill is ready. For the last four notifications mentioned, batch job WX notif is used to process the service task instances that represent them. Form tasks are used to define contact us questions, which can be presented to the user through self-service. Through the use of campaigns, they can present a series of questions for the customer to answer when submitting their request. Notifications can be sent to the customer through the C1 Build Forms notification script when the form is in a notifying customer or closed state. Finally, let's discuss the customer-to-meter self-service business object. Self-service task type basis business object is the non-instantiable parent business object to all other self-service related task type business objects. The self-service task type basis business object defines the common self-service task type fields for all self-service related task types, including the service task type, description, business object and transactional business object, service task type and service task class, long description, and version. Common information inherited from the self-service task type basis business object includes the task type, status, and task class, the description, and detailed description, the valid actions that are available for this task type, and the business object information, including the related transaction business object and the child business object of the self-service task type business object. To locate a self-service task type from the main menu, navigate to Self-Service, Self-Service Task Type, and expand the details of the relevant type. Select the task type business object followed by the parent business object. Additional data elements defining the common behaviors of specific classes of task types are created as children of the self-service task type basis business object. The child business objects define the mapping of field names and field values between self-service and CCB or C2M. Task types inherit behaviors from both the basis and child business objects. The task types include the customer request self-service task type business objects, which define expected behaviors of such tasks as start-stop, payment arrangements, and budget plans. The notification self-service task type business objects, which define the expected behavior of such notification tasks as bill notification, bill due, and late payment notifications. And the form service task type business objects, which define the expected behavior for issue-related tasks such as missed rebates and landlord reversions. A service task type contains the following components: a unique name, the business object used to maintain the service tasks of this type, a status of active or inactive, a functional category, and descriptions. It also contains alert information, such as an indicator of whether to display open tasks as alerts, and the messaging that is displayed, such as message category, message header, and message text. The self-service customer request task transaction business object is the parent business object to other self-service task business objects. This business object defines the common data elements and behaviors of a standard self-service task. For example, this business object triggers to-do entries and populates service task characteristics, which are the criteria that are used to search for online user activity. These task characteristics include task ID, status, web user ID, web user name, web email address, and web IP address, which are the criteria used to search for online user activity. The self-service task transaction business object also populates the collection of field name and field value pairs, which are copied into the response returned to self-service. And finally, it populates the collection of task-related objects, such as process flow, account, or payment event. Self-service tasks contain a lifecycle which implements the algorithms and scripts common to all service tasks created. The states of the lifecycle include a pending state that utilizes a deferred service task monitor to transition the status of the business object to either the provided soft parameters or, if not provided, transitions to the next state. A validate state that validates the business logic and transitions to the next step, awaiting process, or to validation error if returning an error message. An awaiting process state that transitions the business object to processing request, or if the task referencing the business object is canceled, it transitions to discarded. The processing request state transitions the business object to complete, or if an error exists, it transitions to the processing error state. The validation error state returns an error message to the self-service user. A complete state means the request is completed. A processing error state creates the to-do entry task. And a discarded state provides a required discard reason for any canceled task that references the self-service transaction business object. Whenever a task referencing the self-service customer request task transaction business object is canceled, a discard reason is required. To define valid discard reasons, navigate to the lookup page and define the valid values for lookup field C1 customer request discard reason flag. That concludes this lesson. After watching this video, you'll now be able to understand which configurations are done in the Digital Self-Service or DSS portal and which are done in the Customer to Meter or C2M system. You'll be able to explain the types of supported DSS portal configurations, as well as the types of configurations in the C2M master configuration. You'll understand how to create self-service tasks and how to find them in the C2M system. You'll also be able to explain how web services are used to create self-service tasks. You'll be able to explain the types of self-service tasks, as well as the business object or BO model used for self-service tasks. And finally, you'll be able to identify the lifecycle states of transactional business objects. For more information or to review the detailed setup steps, see the configuration guides in the Digital Self-Service Transactions library, which is available in the Oracle Help Center at docs.oracle.com. We hope that this information has been useful and that you have a better understanding of the digital self-service configuration tools. Thanks for watching.